There, Ashley Folks from BitcoinBroker.ca. Here with a state of Bitcoin. Today is August 1st, 2017, and it's a big day in the crypto space. Today we had a Bitcoin fork happen, a hard fork for the first time in history of Bitcoin, where essentially Bitcoin split into two separate chains, more or less. What does this mean? Well, Bitcoin itself has a size problem. There's too many people doing too many transactions on the Bitcoin, and it can only handle so many transactions per block. So every 10 minutes, Bitcoin mines a block, and these blocks are totally chock full. They can't fit any more data in them. So this has been happening for a while and has caused increase in fees and other problems. Sometimes taking as long as 3 days for a Bitcoin transaction to go through when it should only be taking 10 minutes. Yeah, so basically, there's lots of people who've been really interested in solving this problem, and one of these ways of solving it is creating a new fork of a Bitcoin, a new Bitcoin code called Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash essentially is identical to Bitcoin. It's taking the whole ledger that Bitcoin's been creating over since 2009. They take that whole ledger and they take a copy of it. But now they start mining their own blocks instead. So as Bitcoin is basically adding on blocks, Bitcoin Cash is now taking a copy of that and adding their own blocks onto it. So now we have two sets of ledgers that are running essentially with Bitcoin. Anybody that had Bitcoin in the past sitting in a wallet, that Bitcoin's just doubled basically. It doesn't mean that you get twice as much profit out of it if you sold it because the value, you have to look at what it's trading for on the markets. So Bitcoin itself is Bitcoin Core is still staying the same. It doesn't even know Bitcoin Cash has been created, so to speak. The miners don't know, really care. The nodes don't care. Bitcoin Cash is split off and it's doing its own thing. So it's creating its own transactions, its own rules, and as it goes forward, they can make more changes if they wanted to. Whatever, it doesn't matter to Bitcoin Core. So Bitcoin Core, you can see, is number one right now in the markets. Current market cap of $45 billion. One price of one Bitcoin is $2,731 US, and Canadian, I believe that's $2,400 right now. Sorry, $3,400 Canadian right now. Yeah, so exciting things in the Bitcoin space. There's more that's been going on lately. Like this whole year has been a year of ICOs. So what is ICO? ICO is a initial coin offering. It's essentially like an IPO of a company. When you start a project, though, you want to raise funds through crowdsourcing, and people call this an ICO, where they basically create a bunch of tokens on their own private blockchain, and then they sell those tokens to investors who will buy them at a usually a fixed price. So maybe I could explain a little more about what's been going on with Bitcoin. And over the past few years, I've been involved since 2013. And 2009, originally Bitcoin was switched on. And then there's been clones coming off of that, basically, like Litecoin, Ethereum cloned off of that, Dogecoin, as well as hundreds of other coins. You can see right here, there's 836 currencies that are currently being tracked by this cryptocurrency market capitalization website. So yeah, 187 assets and 4,832 markets. That's pretty impressive. This cryptocurrency is really getting some traction. The market cap right now is $93 billion. So if you took all of the cryptocurrencies and added them all their value together, it'd be $93 billion. In 24 hours, there's been $3.9 billion worth of value transferred on the exchanges and from wallets that have been tracked through this website. And BTC dominance, Bitcoin dominance is 48.2%, which means that of this value here, the 93 billion, Bitcoin has 48.2% of that value. It used to be Bitcoin probably a year ago was up around 85%, 90% capitalization, dominance rather, in the market. Bitcoin was the king. But with all of these problems with the transactions not going through, and people are just getting frustrated, like myself, for example, if I'm on an exchange, let's say, and I want to move some money, I want to move it quickly from one exchange to another exchange to do another trade, I'm not going to move it in Bitcoin because I don't know how long it's going to take to do. Sometimes I've been waiting up to 3 days for my Bitcoin transaction to go through, and hey, this stuff's supposed to be fast. I want to wait minutes for it, seconds if I can, not days. So I'll use Ethereum instead. Ethereum is really fast, like it does 15 to 18-second blocks. So instead of Bitcoin doing a 10-minute block, Ethereum does one in 15 seconds. So it's always snapping out these blocks. So you know your transactions are going to happen really fast. You wait 30 seconds and there's a couple of blocks already been mined. So it's a good chance that your money's going to be there in a couple of minutes, which beats a couple of days. So that's why Bitcoin dominance has gone from like 90% to 48% because people are just fed up. You go other places when you're not getting the service that you expect. What else do we have going on here? Well, Litecoin is is pretty amazing. It's gone from about $4 earlier this year to $43.38, and that's mostly due to Bitcoin being so slow doing its transactions. People are just using other blockchains in order to move money because you can use really any of these virtual currencies to move your money around, as long as the exchange on the sending and the exchange on the receiving end both support that currency. So that's the key thing about Litecoin. Litecoin's been around. It's the second currency that was ever created. There was Bitcoin, and then there was its clone called Litecoin. The differences between them is, well, Litecoin, you can see that there's quite a bit more Litecoin. There's 52 million Litecoin that have been released versus 16 million Bitcoin that have been released. So Litecoins basically take Bitcoin times four to the value, and instead of doing a 10-minute block, though, do a 2.5-minute block. And Litecoin's been really reliable actually for the past few years, and that's why people are really starting to warm up to Litecoin. Another thing that happened with Litecoin just this year is called SegWit. SegWit is some new code that allows something called side chains to happen, as well as a whole host of other technologies. But essentially, side chains is the most exciting thing because in Bitcoin's well, it would solve Bitcoin's problem because SegWit allows you to use one address, one transaction, and spit off of that a whole series of other transactions. You're taking what's normally a serial kind of transaction like this, and you're allowing it to have bandwidth now. So you can do a whole bunch of side transactions and resolve them all with one Bitcoin transaction. So you theoretically could do thousands of Bitcoin transactions and have one Bitcoin transaction uh, connect all of those together with SegWit. So it's a really exciting new technology. There's called the Lightning Network that people have been working on that will take Bitcoin from its about 7 transactions per second up to, thousands of transactions per second. And that's really what we need. That's something cryptocurrency really needs right now is that bandwidth because the usage of it goes up, but then it hits the ceiling and it can't go any faster. So people will just start going, they're like, well, this project's not going to work because the Bitcoin network's too slow, and they make their own private networks that they start running it on. Bitcoin could be like the network that does it all. Bitcoin does the smart contracts. Bitcoin handles the software. Bitcoin handles databases. But we need to take Bitcoin to the next level, and that's essentially what people are trying to do right now with Bitcoin Cash. They're taking the transactions, which are only 1 megabit size, and they're doing 8 megabit blocks. So it gives a lot more capacity to do transactions. So for example, I'm sitting on an exchange and I want to move some money to another exchange. So I have an option. I can use the old Bitcoin Core to send the money, or I can use Bitcoin Cash to send the money. All I have to do is just buy some Bitcoin Cash, send it over. And hey, Bitcoin Cash might be the way to do it. If the blocks are writing fast enough, if I want to wait half an hour, I can get the money over to the next exchange. Whereas if I use Bitcoin Core, which is really slow, it's congested right now. It could take a day, it could take several hours. Who knows? I'm probably not going to use Bitcoin Core. To be honest with you, I'm probably not going to use Bitcoin Cash either. I'll probably use Ethereum because we got those 15 to 18-second blocks that it writes, and I want my money to be there in a couple of minutes. I don't even want to wait 10 minutes for a transaction to happen anymore. I'm too impatient. I'm too spoiled by Ethereum. Even Litecoin, 2.5 minute blocks. I don't have time for that. I don't want to wait three transactions. So I'd have to wait close to 10 minutes for my money to be there. When I can use Ethereum and I can have it over there in minutes. Let's just use Ethereum. Ethereum actually is a really amazing currency. You can see it's number two on the market cap, and there's a really good reason for that. Ethereum essentially is an engine, and it's an Alan Turing machine. It's a true Alan Turing machine. So what does that mean? Well, Alan Turing, I won't go into a bunch of computer science history, but essentially Alan Turing invented the theory of computers, that if you could move bits around, you could really create any software from that. So basically, Ethereum is an Alan Turing machine. It can really write any software you have that does database, that does processing, that does moving bits. It does really any kind of processing. Ethereum, you can write some code in Ethereum that will run on the Ethereum network. Yes, right now Ethereum is 15 to 18-second blocks. That's not really fast though. Like you're able to do a transaction every 15 seconds. It's not fast enough. We need to get to the point where it's doing thousands of transactions per second, and that's where everybody's ramping up towards. Eventually, when we get there, we'll be able to compete with Visa. We'll be able to compete with the ACH network. We'll be able to compete with really any kind of transaction network in the world with Ethereum or Bitcoin or one of these other altcoins that are coming out. And there is a lot of them. As you can see, Bitcoin's number one, Ethereum two, Litecoin four, but then we could just go down. There's 20, there's 30, there's 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It just shows 100 on this page, but like you said, like I said earlier, there's about 800 and some currencies that are currently any size. So what else has come out with cryptocurrencies and this blockchain technology in the past few years? Well, there's been the Bitcoin, right? Ethereum's kind of like a second generation Bitcoin. We're not just doing kind of currency transactions now. We're actually doing computer. We're actually running a computer now. Now there's even a third generation called tokens, and that's what these ICOs are all about. All these ICOs and tokens typically run on the Ethereum network. So essentially, you could create a smart contract on Ethereum network very easily and spin up a whole bunch of tokens. So let's use an example. One of my favorite tokens is TAS, TAAS. It's tracked on here. So here's TAS. And this is our Explorer here. Our market cap for TAS is $21 million. Still very small. There's only for supply 8,146,001 TAS in existence, and that's all there will ever be. But essentially, what TAS is, it's a fund. It's not just some cloned coin from like Bitcoin. It's not a machine like Ethereum. This is a token that's actually created on top of the Ethereum network. And this is a fund. TAS Fund is actually a team of 15 people that have had a great idea. They're like, hey, let's create a fund where people buy our tokens, our TAS tokens. We take all of that money, put it into a pool, and then we use that to do investments, to support the team, and to create new software to support TAS development. And that's what the TAS team has done. So in April 27th, they finished their ICO. They raised $7 million. And yeah, it's been 3 months later to the day. It's August the 1st, and their current market cap is $21 million. Not bad, from $7 million to $21 million, as well as they do dividend payments with TAS. So this is the neat things with these tokens, is that you can do stuff like this. So anybody who's holding TAS in their Ethereum wallets, because TAS runs on Ethereum, gets paid out every quarter money to their tokens. So basically, it's like a token, a dividend distribution system that they've created. So it's really smart. If you think about it, let's see, their TAS report just came out. Um, that TAS fund, let's pull this up. Yeah, so this is their original investment ended. There was 3,942 people who invested. And these are all the amounts that they captured. They had 45,000 Ethereum at $45, which is appreciated now to $227 today. So Ethereum has appreciated significantly since that original investment, as well as the Bitcoin itself. I think it was around $1,600 at that time, is now worth $2,700. So it's over $1,000 in growth. So this fund has grown a lot, and they've put out a quarterly report covering the period from the April 27th to the August 1st. And I'm not going to go over this too much in depth, but these guys show all of their assets in something called a cryptographic audit. So they're being very open, very honest, very transparent with their values. So you can see everything sitting on exchanges, see everything sitting in their wallets. You can see every trade that they've ever done. It's all available on the web. And yeah, they've also contributed in ICOs. So this is the neat thing. A TAS is an ICO, or ran an ICO to raise money. They use that money to invest in other ICOs. So here we have, I believe it's 11 investments that they've done so far into 11 new ICOs that have come out since then, as well as they've done thousands of trades on exchanges to make money. They do arbitrage. Um, yeah, you can see everything right here on their website. If you click on this tells you exactly what they're doing on the exchanges, and you can take a look. Pick a day. Let's see the 19th here. Well, here we are in the exchange on Poloniex. Here they are selling some Bitcoin into GRC. So yeah, they have bots that do this stuff, as well as they manually do trades themselves. And yeah, they're doing a bang up job. Let's look back here about the TAS tokens. So they're trading at $2.60 today, and most people bought in at less than $1. So in 3 months, these people have already doubled their money, in some cases tripled their money. If you're like me, got in at 75 cents the first day they came out. We look at some of the assets they have. They've grown 215% in 3 months. It's phenomenal growth we're seeing here, as well as the dividend payments. So it shows 28 cents per TAS token. So this is how it works. If you bought 1,000 TAS tokens, those would be sent to, remember TAS tokens run on top of the Ethereum network. So you'd have an Ethereum address. They would send 1,000 TAS tokens to your Ethereum address. So you bought those, let's say for 1,000 or $1 each. So you invested $1,000, $1 each. So, and you've left it there since then, 3 months later. Now you're getting a dividend payment to that Ethereum wallet of 28 cents, 28 cents in Ethereum per TAS. So let's do some quick math just so you can kind of understand how this is working here. So you bought 1,000 TAS at $1 each. You spent $1,000 US buying 1,000 TAS. Now today you're getting a payment of $280 in Ethereum to that wallet. So yeah, Ethereum is currently trading at, let's take a look. I think it's $223. So divide that by 223. So yeah, you just get a payment of 1.25 Ethereum to that wallet this quarter. Congratulations, you have some money. Plus, the value of your original $1,000 investment trading on the exchanges right now is it trading at $2.60 is now worth $2,600 US. Not bad. So yeah, your overall, if you add that plus your dividend payment, you're sitting at $2,880 in 3 months, from $1,000 US investment to $2,880 in value. So yeah, there's some pretty amazing things happening with these tokens. Some of them have just really exploded. I remember one called Swarm City that I invested in last year. I bought it at 8 cents, 8 cents per token. And let's take a look at that one today. Oops, where are we here? Gonna TAS token. So yeah, so Swarm City, I bought it at 8 cents, and it's trading at $1.04, and it's been about a year. So yeah, it really did explode for a while there. But the price got up to $6.20. I sold actually quite a bit of it when it was peaking here, and got a really great return. Yeah, 8 cents and selling for $5.38. You know, months later. We're not even talking about years. So in the long term, how well is this going to do? We'll see what happens. Um, yeah, it's really exciting times though with the cryptocurrencies. Anybody essentially who had bought Bitcoin before, let's say January 2017, has seen a profit. Some of my early investors bought in at $90 per Bitcoin, $120 per Bitcoin, $145 per Bitcoin, $280. Some people bought right at the peak of 2013 when it was about $900 per Bitcoin. And yeah, all of those people, if they held their Bitcoin and didn't lose it due to exchanges going down, unfortunately, like Mt. Gox and BTCE, and Cryptsy, then they'll see an appreciable valuation on all of their cryptocurrencies. So the key strategy when it comes down to cryptos is to buy and to hold. And when you hold them, you don't want to hold them on an exchange because exchanges come and go. If your currency is sitting on there and that exchange poof disappears, well, guess what? They took off with your money. So the thing what you need to do with cryptocurrencies is you need to own the private key. If you own the private key, you actually own the value. So here's the strategy if you're looking to invest in cryptocurrencies. Make an investment. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's $100, if it's $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000, whatever you want to do, make an investment in it. Usually buy something that's really stable, like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin. There's a couple others that are like Dash is a really good currency. Um, yeah, something like that. Those are the really stable ones. The Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dash are the four kind of really solid coins I'd recommend right now to invest in. So make an investment in those coins, and then make sure that you get the private key. Now you want to take the private key, and all that is just a string of numbers. It's just usually about 60 numbers long, numbers and letters, uppercase and lowercase, ones and zeros. You just usually get that printed onto a paper wallet because all of those four main cryptos will do paper wallets. When you get that paper wallet, you take one of them, you put them in your safe, and you put the other copy and put it in your safety deposit box. And those are the keys to your investment. And just let them sit there and then forget about them if you can. Just don't keep checking the prices every day. Don't get excited about it too much because these things are really volatile. Like we'll see swings 20%, 50% in a day rises and crashes. Now, if you want to get into playing the market a little bit more, well, then there's exchanges you can play on. A lot of them, like if you're Canadian like myself, one of the exchanges you could try, which I recommend, is Quadriga, quadrigacx.com. So quadrigacx.com is currently Bitcoins are trading for. Let me shrink this window down so you can actually see. The last trade is $3,600 Canadian. That's what one Bitcoin is trading for. So yeah, you can sign on to Quadriga, register, create an account. They want a lot of information from you though, and usually have to verify your account. Uh, they want to know, yeah, your address. They want to know your driver's license. They want your social insurance number if they can get it. I don't recommend giving anybody your social insurance number. They want a picture of your driver's license, a picture of you holding your driver's license with a date on it. Like they're very they're very high security about this because there's a lot of scams that happen with this cryptocurrencies since it's a one-way cash-based system, and our current financial system has these chargebacks. Anytime these scammers can figure out a way where they can send money to somebody through some kind of like credit card transaction, get the Bitcoin, then they do a chargeback and they still have the Bitcoin, and there's no chargebacks on Bitcoin. So always be aware of that. You usually want to deal with somebody that you know or somebody that's reputable. Yeah, just start now. If you haven't started already and you don't have any cryptos, it's a wise idea to get in on the ground floor. And this now, speaking of the bigger scheme of things, let's take a little closer look at the cryptos here. Is it too late now? Is it too late to make an investment in Bitcoin? Is this price already outrageous and it's going to crash down to zero? Well, Bitcoin's been running since 2009, January 3rd, 2009. And a couple of times it's crashed hard to the point that it's become like worth $1. Back in 2010, it crashed really hard. 2011, it crashed really hard. And the thing is, Bitcoin always will crash, but it always does this skyrocket in value also as more people jump on board. It's based on speculation, right, and adoption and use. It's finding a lot of uses now. The big banks are now really taking a good look at blockchain technology. Every major bank has their own cryptocurrency that they've created. They're experimenting with it. IBM is creating a network, not a Bitcoin network, but a cryptocurrency network that's a private chain that they want to have banks trade funds on. Because why use the old ACH crappy network now? That thing is so slow. Like, you're going to do a bank transfer, we're not talking about minutes here or seconds, days. Sometimes it takes over a week to do bank transfer from one bank to another. If these banks adopt a cryptocurrency to transfer value, it's extremely secure. It's totally encrypted. It's Bitcoin's never been hacked. Nobody's ever just spawned magical Bitcoin before and been able to spend it, because it's built by geniuses, computer science geniuses, who are like the most elite hackers that I've ever seen, have created this. So to even have hackers that are even more elite to try to crack it, it hasn't been done. Um, so yeah, if it hasn't been done in this time, banks are very interested in using this to transfer secure value from one location to another, as well as financial institutions too. And pretty much, if you look at it, anybody running a retail outlet, if they had ability to be able to quickly zip money to their bank and back and forth to multiple banks, to multiple accounts, and to do that in seconds, very securely with very low fees. We're talking pennies or fractions of a pennies to do a transfer. Why wouldn't you adopt that new technology? Why wouldn't you embrace it and look to use it to save you money, right? So yeah, we're early adopters right now. Everybody who's basically involved in this space is still considered an early adopter. Um, let's see, what else could we talk about? Veritasium. This is a really interesting crypto that I did an ICO investment in lately. I'm really happy with this one because I think I invested about 5 Ethereum into this one this ICO. And it's worth about 80 Ethereum now in value. So a significant return on investment in only about 4 or 5 months. It's been since I invested in this ICO. But Veritasium is an asset trading platform where they actually want to take away the middleman. So when you're talking about financial investors, you're talking about stocks, you're talking about bonds, you're talking about gold. Veritasium is going to allow you to connect and trade all of these on one platform with like super minimal fees. So you're only spending pennies to do stock trades. You're only doing pennies to do transactions. So Veritasium is really an exciting one, and it's just been exploding in growth. Well, you can see even right there, it's just shooting up in value. Um, what other ones that are really interesting? Well, the Dash. Dash is one of my favorites. It used to be called dark coin back in the day because essentially what it is a completely anonymous currency. So anytime you do a trade on it, there's no history. Someone can track your money, so to speak, and where it came from. Dash uses a built-in coin jar mixing technologies as well as master nodes, and it's really smart. So Dash also has a very capable team behind it, and it's constantly hiring developers. So I believe it is 10% of all of the profit of the master nodes goes back to the development team, and that value, I think, I remember talking to my friend Hans, who runs a master node. He said is around $500,000 a month. So they have like $500,000 a month budget to spend on developers and developing their own Dash platform. And it is growing like a beast. That's why its value has gone from, $10 to $183 in a year. It's spectacular growth, and it's one of my highly recommended coins. As you can see, the value it, trading at $10. Where was it? Trading at $12 back last year. This time, or sorry, last year would be July 2016. There we go, $7. So yeah, if you made a significant contribution in Dash last year, this time, you've done very well as it's exploded in value. Um, so we're gonna see Dash. Dash is really fast. It has something called instant send. So once you've sent the money, you don't have to wait for any blocks to be written. It's there, and now you can spend it. Dash is an amazing crypto. So that one definitely is a buy in my book. Um, like I said, the Litecoin, it's really exploded in growth too. Last year at this time, it's trading for $4.75 American, and today is trading for $43. So we're seeing like a 10 times increase in value in a year. So Litecoin, yeah, is definitely a strong buy. It's a good one to sit on. And let's take a look at Ethereum. Probably Ethereum's probably one of my favorite coins when it came out. I was really excited about it. I met the guys down in Miami at a coin conference. Vitalik Buterin, I met him in Vegas. A really neat guy, really kind of eccentric, brilliant young mind. And he ran the Bitcoin magazine for a while. I used to collect those. So here we go. August, you can see the value of Ethereum shooting up. So last year, 2017, so it was a rate about here, it was about $10 per Ethereum. And yeah, trading today at $225 per ETH. So these surges in growth really have been from, well, Bitcoin has been just pushing it like crazy. The adoption of Bitcoin has gone up. The transactions of Bitcoin has gone up. There's countries that are doing significant investments. China has a significant investment in Bitcoin and the mining technology, and India is really jumping on board with Bitcoin. Um, and Bitcoin, yeah, is gaining transaction in the financial markets. Bitcoin's being now used as a hedge for a lot of big hedge funds. So, if they're going to make a significant investment over here, they're going to hedge it with Bitcoin because if this one doesn't work out so well, that investment in Bitcoin could just take off like crazy. So, yeah, there's some hedge funds that have done investments in Bitcoins for, a couple of years ago. It's now their biggest fund that they have is they're sitting on Bitcoin, as well as a lot of investors are now recommending to diversify into cryptos a little bit. And that's what I create a Bitcoin broker for. My website and my company is basically a Canadian, legitimate Canadian corporation that helps individuals and businesses to do above water investments into the crypto space. So if you are interested in investing in cryptos, I'm available. Go to my website, www.bitcoinbroker.ca. Send me a message on there, and yeah, I can see what I can do for you in getting started with cryptos. So thanks for listening to this video. I hope it's been informative, and yeah, happy trading.